What's going on, FUD Nation, and welcome back. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. I'm wearing some FUD Nation merch. I hope you guys like it. I'm going to be giving some out over the coming episodes, so throw a comment in and let me know if you guys enjoy the shirt. We have a very, very exciting episode for you today where I meet with none other than Jun Li, the co-founder and lead architect of Ontology. Ontology is one of my favorite projects in the space. I've been covering it and investing in it since really it first dropped on the scene in early 2018. You can go back to my videos back then, and I was so excited about it. I'm personally invested in the project but have not been compensated in any way for this interview. I just had a lot of questions I wanted to ask to Li Jun, or Jun Li, who's the co-founder and chief architect of the project. He bared all and told us some shocking stuff, like the fact that Ontology and Onchain have technical collaborations with Binance. There's a lot that we cover, so strap in, FUD Nation. I hope you enjoy this exclusive segment with Li Jun from Ontology. Thank you so much for coming on the show, the co-founder and chief architect of one of the most exciting cryptocurrency and blockchain projects in existence, definitely one of my favorite projects today. Please welcome to the show, Jun Li, or Li Jun, depending on which hemisphere you're in. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you doing?
Yes, it's great to be here and introduce Ontology and other business and plan to be here. It's very pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So could you please, obviously Ontology is a very ambitious project. I've read a lot of the white paper and tried to articulate it to my audience, your goals, but if you could please just explain for the FUD TV audience, what is Ontology in a nutshell? What is it trying to do?
Okay, Ontology is a new generation public blockchain platform. The vision is to support the real business. That means the business running Ontology is not only supported by the digital crypto, the security mechanism, also can be accepted by the different legal system or offline, off-chain business scenarios. And that is Ontology is doing. So we're doing that is as two platforms. One is public chain platform, just like the Ethereum and other public blockchain. But the difference is we are multiple chains, not only one chains. Another platform is trust platform, collaboration platform. That platform is integrated with identity, with a reputation system, data exchange, as contract, and a different legal system that can support you to build the business in the real business in blockchain, and also can be by the off-chain scenario. That is Ontology, new generation platform for that. Yeah.
So I really enjoy how you broke that down into the two different chains. So if you could simplify it even more, just for someone who wants to understand how exactly would a business take advantage of this? What exactly would you like to see? And could you give an example of a business that would be not able to conduct its business affairs on a normal public blockchain, that would be able to do more on Ontology? Like, help us understand what makes it special and unique.
Okay. Maybe two simple cases can easily to show that. One is, for example, currently they have new kind of asset-based token. Unlike the Bitcoin or Ethereum or ONT, STO, security token, also kind of asset-based token. All those tokens need one, maybe their transaction will be very high frequency. They need more scalability and to support that. That is one case. Another is they need to be supported by a different legal system in different users or individual investors. They need the global KYC, and they need the data verification or data exchange. They need some electronic contract service. And when you find some conflicts or issues, you also need to be supported by different legal systems. Maybe some asset based on China or based on United States or Europe, you need a different legal system to support that. Those kind of scenario, you cannot do that in Bitcoin or Ethereum directly, because in those platforms, currently traditional public chain platform only can support by technology. But many assets is you cannot only protected by the technology, by your private key, is not enough. A lot of assets in the real world, they need to be supported by the legal system as well. For example, the DID, decentralized identity framework, they actually integrated different kind of data source, some from centralized like government or enterprise or KYC service, some from decentralized source from social networking. You can prove yourself in social networking and other kind of trust, maybe from your friends, from your family, from your colleague, or from other kind of decentralized source. All those can be integrated in a unique framework based on blockchain. You can use that to do the not only KYC, that can prove yourself, prove some organization, enterprise, yourself in different scenario. You can do the collaboration in different kind of business scenario very easily. And based on that, all those kind of proof and data exchange also be linked to the different legal system as evidence. They can got some contract service, signature service. All those things process also can be, when you have conflicts or issues in blockchain process, you also can get support from a different legal system. So all those modules actually is build the bridge linked to the public blockchain and the different scenario in different areas globally. They can do the business. You can run different kind of business, decentralized as a decentralized service very easily. That is Ontology's vision, and we are doing right now. Yeah.
So in what ways would you say that Ontology is ahead of your competitors? I think this is something that people want, definitely to understand is what competitive advantages are you building in? Why will you be better than your competitors in this field?
Okay, several things. One, those kind of traditional business case, they need to have they need to be a scalability, and they can do the deeply customization for specific requirements. For Ontology's parts, one is of course performance. We need to find the decentralized, find the balance between performance and the decentralized level. Another is technical progress, definitely. For example, if you review currently, Ontology just released last year's release Ontology sharding design and other kind of multiple layer design for the scalability. This is our progress is in hand of in advancing other public blockchain. Is in currently in performance and the platform and the new scalability design. And a more important and modularized framework can easily to do the customization where multiple chain network, not only one blockchain. We provide a very flexible framework. The different scenario, they can use Ontology framework to customize their own business blockchain and to join the Ontology chain network and can easily to do meet the specific requirements. All those is infrastructure level can support those kind of scenario. Another is in the trust collaboration module, decentralized identity, we already built the global KYC service, already provided those kind of service already. And more the data source is linked in. Currently in all public blockchain, Ontology has the largest the data source and KYC service scope right now. And the data exchange protocol will also be done. You can open your data exchange, decentralized data exchange based on Ontology protocol very easily in different areas. And the signature service, contract service, already private. So the main thing is Ontology currently is in knowledge and infrastructure level have a more strong and already ready for support those kind of scenario. That is in current situation we are better than other competitors in this area. Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. And one of the things that made me so excited and why I invested early on in Ontology is because I recognized that right now in cryptocurrency, it's kind of like the wild west, as they say. There's not a lot of rules and regulations, and there's nobody able to verify your identity, what you legally own, and how you place meaningful actions like signing or notarizing or showing that you own certain assets and that you have registered those assets, things like that. And I think that Ontology is going to be incredibly powerful in allowing for that behavior to happen. Now, one of the things that excites me is this base level of infrastructure that you're creating. But of course, what we want to understand, and what I want from my audience to understand, is in these different circumstances, the kind of progress you've made towards those goals, and if you still are focused on those specific goals. For example, in your white paper, you list 14 different use cases, or I think 14. And those are insurance, asset management, copyright protection, public welfare, finance, healthcare, government. Can you tell me, are these all still focuses of Ontology, or have you started focusing on certain areas more than the others?
Okay. Currently, we have since we have a public blockchain and a community-based project, and a lot of community contributors, they have a different proposal. Is trying to different direction. For our core team, we have several important direction right now. One is just I mentioned the asset-based protocol. We already finished the asset-based protocol in the first version. For example, Ontology OEP 506. This protocol is a more complex STO process, and we also worked with different KYC service, private and the legal agency that can support different users or different agency or insurance platform can issue the STO or other kind of assets base very easily. And we also have a very close partnership with many different kind of exchange as well. They can help to list those kind of assets based token easily. That is one direction we are doing right now. Another is, for example, another popular DApps direction is kind of game, right? And we also build the level 2, the multiple layer and modules, common modules for game developers. Based on that, the assets in the game also can be exchanged very easily and can be concept easily. And the KYC service and the other more than KYC is a distributed identity service. Ontology already built a global platform right now. You can easily to do the global KYC, no matter when you issue an application or kind of product, you can do the KYC for all kinds of users globally. Another important thing is that people can manage their identity service very easily. For example, you can prove, okay, which kind of Bitcoin address is belong to me. I have how many Bitcoin assets, Ethereum assets, and also they can mapping with my account, maybe US dollars bank account, or my real identity, nationality as well. I can prove those kind of information, the linkage and mapping very easily to any kind of scenario. That can be done in Ontology right now already. Awesome. So those two or three directions is our core team to do. But in the community, they have all kinds of direction they are trying to do, and we are welcome any kind of proposal they can try that. We will support in the infrastructure level for that.
So one of the things that I love about Ontology is the cross-chain functionality, and obviously cross-chain is the structure of your project. What I think is so exciting about Ontology is the idea that if you become the base layer for identity and for regulation, and for essentially compliance, then essentially you can go and work with almost any project on any blockchain. Is that correct?
Yes, the cross-chain and for example, the identity framework or the other kind of framework also can be linked to the other public chain as well. But to be honest, maybe of course with respect, currently the performance and the scalability flexible Ontology is one of the best public blockchain already. So maybe in the short term we needed to touch to the Bitcoin or the other Ethereum, since their performance and the cost may be higher than Ontology public blockchain. So then in the short term, and maybe we still can support most scenario in our own public blockchain. But for the next step, maybe another case, we want to do the collaboration in a large scope. We can do the cross-chain collaboration and support more public blockchain as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that. And obviously, you mentioned gaming a few times now, and I'm sure you've gotten this question more than a few times. But obviously, there is an undeniable connection between Ontology, started by Onchain, and Neo. Neo has said publicly that gaming is a top priority for their public blockchain. However, we have just seen recently the launch of a game on Ontology that more or less could have easily, launched on Neo. What is your view of your relationship with Neo? And is there anything that Ontology will not do? Is there any use case that Ontology will not do because they're trying to let Neo cover that?
Okay, just to mention, the ontology's the major vision on the objects is still to support the real business. I mean, the more business case, like finance and assets exchange or the other kind of insurance. So our core team or the direction, we are more support for that. But another hand, of course, we are a public chain platform, and the developers and the communities, they can choose build some kind of game ontology. And since we cannot deny that, okay, you cannot refuse that, okay, you cannot do that, and since it's public chain, all the API is open. So if the people want to do, that's fine. But for some game, maybe they need some game have the assets in there, and some games they also need a KYC service, or some assets they also need to be linked to the real identity and those kind of service. They will consider, okay, ontology maybe is better choice, and for those kind of scenario. For other games and all digital assets, and okay, Neo also is very good choice. They were more focused the game strategy. Ontology is focused private, the real business, the asset base, and financial and the insurance.
Hey, sorry.
Okay, we're back again.
Yeah. So the connection got lost when you were talking about games and how the games that might need more KYC, more regulatory compliance, more assets, they might find it easier to build on Ontology. I guess what I feel as though is that Ontology has more features for these assets, or maybe just more features in general than Neo. Is there anything that Neo, in your mind, does better than Ontology? I know that's a weird question to ask you, but is there any reason why someone would build on Neo instead of Ontology?
Okay, I think Neo is if you have a small transaction, they have no transaction fee, so it's transaction fee free. But ontology, we will in charge the fee for every transaction, no matter how small. So that is advantage for that. And infrastructure in the public blockchain, Neo is a very good infrastructure. Ontology, but strategy is a little bit different. We are more focused on multiple chains, and especially for those kind of specific customization for specific scenarios. That is our focus. So architecture is different, and the strategy also is different. So Neo is more like the community based, and welcome any kind of community developed teams to any kind of innovation idea to build some very interesting things on that game or other things. Ontology maybe is more focused on the real business. We want to convert the most existing real business in the real world to the decentralized service. So I think the vision and the strategy are different. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Definitely a different vision. It also seems to be that there may be some overlap. So I guess that's a nice flow into the concept of team sharing. There's been some rumors that you have taken developers from Neo, or that there has been some sharing of resources. Can you clarify if there has been any sharing of resources between Ontology and Neo, and just what that relationship's like? If there's any collaboration between Da Hongfei, who's obviously part of On-Chain, and Ontology, what if any collaboration there is between the teams?
Okay, this is maybe it's kind of misunderstanding for that, and that's one thing is very clear is no any overlap between the two teams. But the two teams have the technical collaboration. For example, we have the co-work. The team is focused on the smart contract virtual machine investigation. That is kind of technical collaboration. But the team, no overlap. People will think about that is just because maybe the relationship between the on-chain, Neo, and Ontology. And on-chain is a private company. technical service company. The private technical service is one of the earliest blockchain technical company in China, maybe 3 years ago, and Dang Fei and me all is the on-chain's the co-founder, included Eric Zhang is a news founder. That's his relationship, and Ontology is a project for the based on the on-chain. On-chain is behind the Ontology support for that. Neo is another kind of community-based project. It's all the team is totally different. So that is a kind of relationship. They also have a different vision to meet different requirements. That is the relationship between that. Yeah.
So as far as you being a private company, and I think that's a very important distinction in understanding what are decentralized sort of foundations and what are really these companies that are driven at, like most other companies, revenue. So can you talk a little bit about how Ontology makes revenue? Do you make any revenue? And how do you make that revenue?
Okay, Ontology will not make revenue directly. It's a public chain platform. The relationship is more like on-chain and Ontology relationship, more like Ethereum and the consensus. That is those kind of relationship. On-chain will play a role is to kind of technical support for the Ontology public chain platform. So Ontology still is public chain platform, and from the community, the best on the community, and this belong to all the token holder, and not belong to the on-chain. All the transaction fee they used in Ontology system were not back to the on-chain. Definitely, we're back to all the ONT holders. So that is so where Ontology will not get the revenue or the profits. On-chain will provide some technical service or provide some service based on Ontology to, for example, if on-chain build some more good application, the apps or other kind of service based on Ontology, those kind of service can in charge some fees or got some income. That's fine. But the infrastructure level is just like Ethereum or the other Bitcoin. That's totally free and open for all the users. Of course, you need to use gas and ONG to use that. But that's the process and the process and the life cycle. The gas will return to the ONT holder. So it's still kind of the community-based project. Yeah.
Okay. And so as far as your team size now, how big is your team? And if you can disclose, how large is your burn rate, and how do you expect to sustain? Because, I think one of the things that people don't consider enough, and we've seen this with, for example, NEM blockchain announcing that they're bankrupt, and we want to know that you're going to be able to keep the lights on. And so how big is your team? How much are you guys spending, if you're willing to share that? And how are you prepared to outlast this bear market and future bear markets?
Okay. Currently, the teams is more than 100 members, and mostly is technical teams. We still is doing the enlarge the team for more marketing guys coming join us, and currently resource we have a funding or the other kind of resource can support the whole team at least 3 years without any income. That is make sure we can be one of the long-term project, definitely based on that. Actually expect for that, Onchain still have an income for our technical service and for enterprise or government and other kind of we private some specific service can got income. I mean, even without any income, we can support at least 3 years. So that is, I think, is good enough to support our to in the long-term strategies right now. Yeah.
And so, like you're saying, there are ways that you are going to earn revenue with privatization, customization, and sort of other types of business, helping essentially cater to these insurance companies and asset token offerers and big commercial enterprises that want to take advantage of blockchain but need their own needs met. And so these are the types of situations I'm trying to paint for the audience so that people can really understand how does this work in the long term. Because, I'm a big believer of idealism, but I also believe in understanding how the business supports itself, because when you have too much idealism and not enough revenue, it doesn't matter. So I'm very much so liking the idea that you have opportunities to make revenue. And do you have any big clients right now that you can talk about? Do you have any big sources or partners that you are currently working with, and ones that you plan to work with in the near future? Because this to me is very, very exciting to know how this network's going to be used.
Okay, Ontology maybe is the project be supported by the famous capital in the public blockchain. Even compare with the EOS or the Ethereum. For example, the Sequoia and Matrix, IDG, all those is traditional merit top level capitals. They all is Ontology's core builder and investor for us, support for us in the long term. And the Fusen Group is China's largest investor group, also is our investor and core builder for both on-chain and Ontology. And the other kind of big name behind those kind of core builder, they can support us not only for the money or the funding, they also have a lot of resource. They have many portfolios, or many portfolio in many of those kind of portfolios, they have a new strategy. It's kind of decentralized service strategies. They want to, okay, this somebody is doing the data service and the centralized internet service or other kind of financial insurance service. They also want to open new kind of decentralized service based on those scenario. They need a technical team, and they need a public infrastructure and those kind of framework to support those kind of new business. Since they will not build another totally new team to build a public chain again, that is very huge investment and need a lot of resource and time to do that. So all those kind of resource from those kind of top capital, Ontology is almost their owning service provider right now, technical provider. For example, we just private technical service for Fusion loyalty points for whole group. They have a lot of end users. Those kind of services, they have almost no other choice. They only this kind of public blockchain and the technical team. So that can make sure okay, we can got a lot of opportunity to private technical service. And those kind of service also.
And do you collaborate with on-chain when you do these kinds of deals, or is it just Ontology?
Yeah. Yes, it's collaborator with on-chain, but on-chain is private all the technical service support for Ontology in the same times. And this kind of win-win situation. That means, for example, we private technical service for some insurance company, financial company, or traditional internet company. They private decentralized service. We will got technical service fee for team. And another is all those service finally will become a public chain service, one kind of dApps or one kind of service, or we will bring a lot of the transaction in Ontology. And Ontology token holder can got a lot of transaction fee, gas fee that we got retained from those kind of new service. So this is very good, the positive circle in the long term. Yeah.
So those investors into Ontology, are they mostly getting Ontology coins in return, or is there any other in ownership that they're getting?
Some is on-chain's equity, and some is Ontology's token. But most Ontology token is based on their contribution as a core builder, and they have a lock period in the 2 years and more long term, and based on their contributor, and we release some allocation for them. But everyone's allocation were very few allocation. Only even the biggest one is we're not more than 1 or 2%, and in the long term. So it's totally based on their contribution. Actually, that is also is transparent mechanism. If any kind of community developer team or other contributor, they can bring all those kind of contribution as well. I can bring you very good dApps, and you also can got reward from Ontology token. Since we have more than around the 20% Ontology have this kind of reward system for all the contribution for the Ontology ecosystem. Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. You have your on-chain, which is like a private, collaborator, and they can continually make revenue in many ways. And then you can collaborate on different projects. So essentially, I guess what I wanted to communicate is that you guys are not worried about sustaining into the long term, and that's definitely something that I think is a key thing to be worried about or focused on as people understand blockchain projects is how are they sustaining themselves long term, because that is of the utmost importance. So I did want to talk about one last thing before we move on to scaling, and that is, of course, you just launched Ontology Gas onto Binance. And I've heard some random speculation as to that essentially you gave Binance a ton of ontology gas and a ton of ontology coins, and that they now control a significant amount of ontology. Are you allowed to disclose anything about your deal with Binance for the listing deal?
Okay, I can very make sure about that. The listing for the ONG without any kind of fee. Zero. That is in the announcement from Binance also said that no listing fee, and I can confirm that again, no listing fee. That is totally true. And of course, ZJ is CZ from Binance. We are old friends as well, and they are. They actually evaluate all the project very carefully. They know us. For example, Binance is know our team very. It's all the details because we have a long history in China and a lot of reputation, and they can make sure, okay, this team Ontology, they can be a long-term project. They can be sustainable, and at least 3 or 5 years they will still be there, and that means okay. Yeah,
was there a listing fee when you first launched Ontology onto Binance?
No. I can confirm that.
So to all those essentially saying that Binance now controls a ton of ontology and they have all this ontology gas, that was not part of the deal. Well,
no, as I know, is Binance is return all the gas generated in their platform to all the ONT holder. Without any holder.
They've given me my gas, so that's good.
yeah. If you review all the kind of some kind of exchange, they also list on ONT, but they not return ONG for you every day or every month. Or some return is not all return to you. They will got some return as hold that, but Binance is return all those kind of token to you, and without any listing fee. Yeah.
Are you planning on collaborating with them at all as they build out their decentralized exchange and their own chain? Are you planning on helping lend them any services or technical support, or are you guys not collaborating on a technical level, you and Binance?
Yeah, we have a lot of technical collaboration, and our team, we have a technical team collaboration group, and we will provide support for all the kind of wallet and the signature service for Binance as well. And we're waiting to any kind of the new plan. We will be a very close collaboration in next phase. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be weird to see you guys have some personnel helping out, or vice versa, with the teams.
Pardon, the voice.
So it wouldn't be weird to see some of your personnel or some of their personnel collaborating to solve certain technical issues. That's something you expect, and that's something you're already doing.
You mean between our and Binance? You mean?
Yeah, you already answered it, so I apologize. That was a confusing question. My apologies. Okay. So I guess. The last section before I turn it over to you to sort of just tell us what you're most excited about is scaling. What's your current level of transaction speed, and is this sufficient? And are you planning, like most other blockchains, to turn to layer 2? And about how long do you see the process of development taking before you feel like Ontology is going to be moving fast enough to support the use cases you want?
Okay. For scalability, currently Ontologies use a consensus modules mechanism called VBFT is depose, and the VRF is verifiable random function, and the BFT. Actually, Ontology is the earliest public blockchain. They have implemented the VRF functionality, the first one to the production, the environment. And based on this mechanism, and we have more than around there's 50 consensus nodes. And currently the TPS in our testing, and also is from the third-party testing, is around the 8,000 to the 10, 11 the sovereigns TPS right now, and yes, based on, of course, based on the network environment. If the network environment got bad, maybe it's 5,000 and less than that.
That's still better than almost any other blockchain right now.
Yeah, that's just one thing. Another is we just issued our ontology sharding design, have a very technical paper, and we are released in our GitHub. That is one of the earliest one that can support all kind of sharding. For example, maybe some project is doing sharding as well, but only supports the transaction sharding. Transaction sharding cannot support many kind of real scenarios. So ontology, this vision can support the network and the transaction and the states and include the smart contract sharding that can support almost all kind of scenarios. So that is in currently we are review, we can be confident for that. We review all the sharding design for all the public chain project. Only Ethereum's Cosper and ontology sharding is kind of can full functionality sharding can support the more business scenario. That is things. And the layer 2, we will release two kinds of the layer 2 framework in Q1 and Q2. Q1 is we have a specific layer 2 modules to support the game developers. They can, based on that, can easily to build the decentralized game very easily based on the layer 2 and with a high performance. Another is more common use layer 2 like state channel is we are working is from the on-chain team and build the layer 2. Based on that, we'll release on Q2 for that. Besides that, we will release in this quarter, Q1, we'll have a testnet for another very important big project is decentralized storage service. It's awesome. Like Filecoin, another kind of Filecoin, but maybe private, more functionality based on that. And maybe next phase, ontology and Neo and more partners will become the membership for this kind of framework. This is another big thing. So that, and beside that, we have a custodian service and have a very good relationship, partnership with different exchange that can support ontology for the asset-based token issuance. The whole process they can support in the one stop. They can finish whole the process on ontology. That is make sure in next phase we will get good position to private service. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, and it sounds like you guys are moving exceptionally fast, and making me very confident as a token holder. One thing I was always very bullish about with ontology, which I hope you can clarify for me, is you list in your white paper that you plan to work with governments to help government administration. Now, it's widely understood that in China, in order to do that, you must already have these relationships, that you can't just start doing this as just some random business. Do you have a relationship with the Chinese government or any government right now?
On-chain actually privating the technical service for some governance, the blockchain case and the solutions right now. And of course, in the first stage and the first phase, the government's the service were based on the permission, the blockchain or even kind of private blockchain. They are doing POC or other kind of try run process. And but we use same framework or architecture with ontology to private service as well. That means they can easily, once they want to open some service or governance service in more scope, large scope, they can use public chain infrastructure as those kind of infrastructure to private service very easily without any additional efforts. That is also our strategy for that. But on chain, of course, we are doing private service for government, the blockchain service. Actually, in the China, another part is national, the department, the technical department from national department. They are doing the evaluation or testing for public chain globally, right? And the latest the evaluation report, and the ontology is ranks in third place It only follows the Ethereum and the US. I mean the technical architecture and the technical advantage. So that has also proved something, and the government still support you. Okay, they want to, and more innovation and the technical progress for that. Yeah.
So I'll take that as a yes. And that's very exciting. Certainly one of the things that excites me most is to see blockchain on the forefront of bringing governments in. Obviously, I'm all for decentralization, but there's a certain point where if you want things to be mass adopted, to really be taken in by traditional businesses, insurance, these pillars of our society, you need to have it comply with the rules of the road. And so I'm really excited to see how you guys blaze that trail. So I guess I'll just turn over the mic to you. What are you most excited about for the rest of 2019? What is the most exciting thing that you want to leave the audience with for Ontology? What are you guys hoping to accomplish? What is some news that you really want people to know as far as what's coming up in the next few weeks, months, or year? And what's the main idea, the main thing?
Okay. One thing I can make sure and very confident about that is Ontology will become the technical part will become the one of the best platform globally. Just mentioned, no matter the performance and the scalability and the whole infrastructure, the infrastructure level, like the decentralized service and decentralized storage and the other kind of service, Ontology definitely in technical part will become one of the best one, even the best one. I have a make sure about this point. Another point is for the ecosystem and the business progress. I have confidence we can build one or two several important showcase. I mean, real showcase. No matter the small scope in the financial, insurance, or other kind of a real business, they can show the case. Okay, decentralized service is kind of workable. And they can get more benefits, even got profits than the traditional process. I make sure we can build at least one or several important showcase Ontology for this part in this year. The final point I want to talk to the investor for our ONT investor again, because in this time ONG listing, a lot of people misunderstanding the mechanism. I want to show one thing is in the currently popular chain, Ontology is one of the best token mechanism design right now. Why saying that is Ontology, the ONT holder, their benefits is directly linked to the Ontology ecosystem, the progress. For example, all the ONG used in the Ontology system will return to the ONT holder, but not directly return. Otherwise, like the security, so every holder they will join to the consensus process. They will put the stake and join consensus. They will got return directly. That means more and more transaction, more and more application running, you will got more and more return. That is kind of a positive circle. Another one important, the ONT will always a fixed number. We'll have no new supply every year. Like Ethereum or US have 5% every year new supply. They will impact the investor, the benefits. They will be the fixed number. They never have a new supply. So the enlarged, the holder the holder's benefits is closely linked to the ecosystem. That is very good token mechanism. When you realize that in the next phase, okay, you will okay, I like this mechanism. I want people to understand this point. What kind of token you are invested, that is, you need to understand very clear. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I can see you're busy, and I really appreciate you coming out and educating the FUD TV audience about what's going on. I'm a huge supporter of Ontology, as many of my audience members knows, and it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and chatting with you.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. I learned a ton from Li Jun about the trajectory of Ontology. He answered all of my most pressing questions about sustainability, competitive advantages, government relationships. I mean, wow, we really went deep here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave me a like, leave me a comment if you guys liked the episode. And of course, I'm Elio Trades. You're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.